right? As you get older, you will face some trials. You will face a point where you'll start questioning your faith. I'm not responsible. I and all the adults here are not responsible to continue to help you with your walk of faith. That is your parents' responsibility. But while you're in this roof, under this church, we as volunteers, we have taken our time to pour into you because we don't want you guys to make the same mistakes that we did when we were growing up. All right? And everything that you guys will start facing in the future, it's just going to get worse. But when I was a teenager, at your age, things were okay. Things were semi-okay. If I got in a fight in school, guess what? After whoever won, you pick them back up, and then you're cool with that guy. Now you fight, the person's getting shot. It's like, what's going on? Things have gone out of control, completely out of control. So, I have questions. Don't throw that away, all right? Hang on to it, because there's going to be that one day that you're going to use that lifeline, and it's going to be somewhere in the back of your head, and you're just going to hang on to it, especially when you guys are going through some dark tunnels, and you're trying to see the light where it doesn't shine, all right? So hang on to that. So for this month, now we're going to talk about with you, all right? So bear with me. Again, so the percentage of a lot of youth going through a lot of problems is very, very high. I mean, suicide amongst youth is through the roof. I've never seen it so much. And the reason is because it's feelings. It's your feelings. A lot of us don't know how to deal with our feelings during that time. And then at the same time, we feel like we can't share it, especially if you're a guy. You don't want to share your feelings. You don't want to cry in front of anybody. You want to be We're men. We're designed to kind of be strong. But the smallest verse in the Bible says, Jesus wept. If Jesus is the pinnacle of a man, of what we're supposed to reflect from, and he cried in front of the Father, then we should be able to do that too. As a matter of fact, I think a couple of weeks ago, I was right here crying. Right? I was crying. Like snot was coming out of my nose and everything. And I don't even know who was there telling me it was okay. Who was it? Oh, man, it was a lot of you guys. Wow, I did not know that. All right. Well, first of all, thank you guys for being there. Because this is exactly what this sermon is going to be about. So today's big question is, be with people when they're grieving. See, during that time, that was not an act, or I wasn't expecting it. But when Dave made that altar call, and you hear the beautiful melody just coming out of the guitar, it just called to me. It called my heart. And it's one of those things that it was time for me to let go. And I just put it in God's hands. And nothing feels so much better than to kneel down. And for me, this was an altar. It wasn't an altar. For me, it was me kneeling down in my Father's lap and telling me that it's okay and just let it out. And you know what? Sometimes we're going to go through some problems where we just need to get it out. And as friends, as family, as loved ones, sometimes the best thing we can do is just be that laugh for them to cry without saying a word. Just letting them know that you're there with them. I am with you. I am with you. So I want you guys to make notes. We're going to go over Bible verses. It's going to be in the book of Job. All right, we're not going to get there yet. Just keep it in your heads. Keep a little notes. Job's chapter 2, verses 11 through 13. Chapter 16, verse 2. And then we're going to go through Psalms 34, 18. And then we're going to finish off with Romans 8, 28. All right? So now let me ask you guys a question. All right? Raise your hands. All right? Who here is an actor? A Shakespeare actor? Okay. All right. Oh, all right. Okay. Come on, boy Patrick over there in the back. Yo, Patrick. Hey, let's give it up for Patrick. Woo! Coming out here, hanging out with the youth crowd. All right. Who here actually isn't like in a school play? All right. Tell me, when you get into character, all right, who is somebody you mimic? Like, you mimic the number 3? Like, what are you, like in Sesame Street, the Count? Ha, 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 3, ha, ha, ha. No, come on, who do you mimic to kind of get you into character? Who do you admire? Like, I want to be just like that actor. Or like, it kind of inspires you. Okay. No, you didn't say who is Betty White. Oh man. All right. Golden Girls. Come on now. All right. So you say you want to be like the next Betty White, something. That's who you inspire. All right. So now those who you say you guys are actors, right? During during a scene that you read a scripture and it says you have to like have that emotion, right? You got to have that emotion. What is one thing that an actor does so they can make that emotion like super real? Yeah, obviously you're gonna cry, but what makes you cry though? Yeah, definitely. Dead puppies. Like, get my mascara starts running. What's up? Go. Thank you. That's actually that is actually a sad story just for the acting. But again, so you get my point, right? So for actors, you have to get to that point of like a a situation in your life that kind of gets you sad. Like for me, I see the commercials of like adopt a puppy, and I start crying. I was like, man, here, take 10 cents or more. That's just me. But then I realized it's just a scam. But uh, but so you start portraying those actors, and you start feeling that moment of sadness. You know what's sad though is that when we go back into our memory lane and we can recall that moment that brought us to our knees and it was just tragic, and we can revisit it, and then we just start crying about it, or it gets us angry, it gets us upset. We start lashing out at people, friends, family, brothers, sisters, loved ones, anything. And the reason is because we have not healed from that moment. We have not healed. What we do as humans, because we do not know how to deal with our emotions, is that we just shove it away. We do that. We shove it away. We put it in a closet. And sometimes we'll get a walk-in closet and we just shove even more stuff in there. But eventually, that ticking time bomb will open. And that's when you see people like, wow, I did not know that person was capable of doing certain things. Wow, I just ate dinner with that person. Wow, I can't believe that happened. Or I was just in school with this person. I would have never known that he was going to commit suicide. That's because we can hide our emotions just like actors. We put a smile on. And sometimes the ones who are smiling, right, are the ones who are actually going through worse things. And the reason, I don't know if you guys remember Robert Williams said, I always try to make everybody happy so they don't have to go through what I'm going through. That is something that Robert Williams said. And it's sad, because you see them like, man, they're so happy, so successful. Man, I would have never thought that they would actually go through anything like this. So my challenge to you guys as friends, right, even as every day goes by, I want you guys to be okay not to be okay, all right? Be okay not to be okay. When you guys walk to somebody and you guys say, hey, how you doing? Just say, you know what? I'm actually not doing good. See what their reaction is going to be. Challenge them. Right? Challenge them. See if they're actually going to stop and be like, oh, for real, you're not doing okay? Well, what was wrong? Let them know that you're not okay. Or if you run into somebody and they say, hey, I'm not really okay, you're like, you know what? I'm not even doing okay either. Let's sit down and let's talk about it, right? Be there. I'm with you, right? Jesus was there with us all the time. You, as children of God, the brightest light, which is you guys, the youth, who can change this generation, you guys got to start shining that light by being there for people and asking those questions that a lot of us are afraid to ask or even respond. Just to be okay. So, now, let me ask you guys a question. Raise your hand if you have, right, because I'm going to go back to that problem. How many of you guys have run into a good friend who's not really doing okay and it's kind of awkward because you don't know what to do? Yeah, I'm going to raise my hand too because I've been there before, right? And I'm pretty sure, raise your hand if you heard this, like, hey man, it is what it is. Yeah. Or how about these right here? Or if somebody lost a family member, right? Have you heard this like, well, God needed his angel back? Who's heard that one? Yeah. Or how about this one? I'll be like, hey, you know what? Everything happens for a reason, It is what it is. All right? How about, well, God will never give you more than you can handle. Yeah. Has anybody said that to you? Yeah. Or has you said that to somebody? Yeah. How about this? There are, for people that break up, hey, there are apparently plenty of fishes in the sea, All right. Or how about this one? Which you guys should not be dating. All right. First of all, none of you can afford something. All right. And the first relationship you should be focusing on is with God. All right. So, men, if you're not focusing on God, you're never going to focus on the ladies. And ladies, if you're not focusing on God, you will never be focusing on the man anyways, all right? So fix that relationship first. All right, here we go. Get back, bring it back. All right. What doesn't kill you make you stronger, all right? Or makes you stranger or weirder, all right? Those are the things that a lot of people say. How about this one? I know exactly how you feel, and then you follow with a story that has nothing to do with that person's going through. Has anybody been there? I know I have. I remember last time I was going through something, and the guy was like, yeah, bro, I was there about 2 years ago, and this is what happened. I was like, bro, like, you're out fishing. Like, my dog died. Like, that doesn't make sense, right? Like, this just doesn't make sense at all, Like, what do you mean? Like, and he's like, yeah, I was fishing, and then, like, I got one of the biggest fishes of the day, and then a shark came and it took it, so I was sad that, I lost the big fish of the day. I was like, bro, it's a fish. My dog of 15 years died. Like, come on, man. It doesn't make sense, right? So, look, these things are not bad because the people have good intentions to talk to people when they're going through tragedies. They just don't know what to say. And guess what? If you don't know what to say, don't say anything. Really. Don't say anything. Just be there for them. When someone is grieving, why do you think these statements aren't helpful? Anybody? Why do you think these statements are not helpful? You in the back. Yeah. Oh, here's a good one. Here's a good one. All right, y'all ready? Y'all ready? All right, hang on, because it may get you off your seats. Hey, man, you just got to pray about it. Hey, man, you know what? Hey, I know you're going through stuff, but hey, just read the Bible, man. Just read the Bible. Just pray about it. See what God says. Do you know when somebody's going through the most tragic moment in their life, the last thing they want to know is, hey, man, pray about it? Hey, man, just open up your Bible and read about it. You know why? Because their heart is so broken that the only thing they're trying to hang on to is any positivity at that moment, and they are tunnel vision. So when you say, hey, man, just read the Bible, man. Hey, just pray about it. They can't fantasize, right? Because at that moment, you need human connection. Human connection. You can read the Bible and read it over them. You can pray and pray over them. You can bring that connection back. Give them love. Not the eros kind of love, right? The love that boyfriends and girlfriends try to have. I'm talking about the agape love, unconditional love, where I will lay down my life for you kind of love. That's the love that each and every one of us should have for one another. Because when we come together and we connect and we're just there for one another, that starts the healing process of that heart to go through the grieving process. And sometimes going with them makes them feel much better. And guess what? When they say, hey, man, I thought God was not going to be there for me. But because you were there, through thick and thin, holding their hand, going through the most horrible times of their life, you are the image of God in front of them that realize, like, man, you know what? God is real because you were here with me the whole time, and I really appreciate it. So just remember that, all right? So you're right. It doesn't help, man. It really doesn't. It's just at that moment, that's not what they need. So I want to focus back in the book of Job, all right? So Job went through a tragic moment. He did. He went through something so tragic, all right? And everything was taken away from Job. His animals were either stolen or killed. And then after they got killed, his children died of natural disasters. No, let's not stop there. And then he gets sick and horrible sores gets all over his body. I mean, it was just a domino effect of just bad luck for this guy. You know what I mean? So you think the last thing he wants to hear, like, hey, man, it is what it is. Or, pray about it, see what happens, you know? So the good thing, though, is that Job did have a lot of faith already in God. So let's open up our Biblia, a.k.a. the library, which is 64 books in our hand, all right? The Bible, all right? Basic instructions before leaving earth, all right? Put that on a shirt, you know? Yeah, you like that, huh? Yeah, you're like, oh, man, mind blown. Yeah, I know. All right, check this out. All right, so we're going to go to Job 16, 2. All right? Chapter 16, dose. Where you at, 16:2? Here we go. All right, so, hey, come here. Where you got? There we go. Okay, 16:2. All right, here it says, I have heard many things like these. You are miserable comforters, all of you. Interesting. Let's keep going. And it says, will your long-winded speeches never end? What ails do you keep on arguing? I also could speak like you. If you were in my place, I could make fine speeches against you and shake my head at you, but my mouth would encourage you. Comfort my lips will bring you relief. Yet, if I speak, my pain is not relief, and if I refrain, it does not go away. Sometimes words don't mean anything. Actions speak way louder than words. So when you find yourself in that situation, think about it. How will you feel if someone said the same thing to you? How will you feel? So when someone's going through tragic moments, and I know a lot of you guys have friends who are now going through some crazy hard things that honestly, you probably don't even have the answer. Like, you're like, what do I do at this moment? Like, hey, buddy, how you doing? Everything okay? Call them. And sometimes you just can be like, hey, you know what, man? Or girl, or whoever it is, be like, just call me. Even if you don't want to say anything, at least let me hear you breathe on the other side of the phone. Just knowing that I'm connected with you. FaceTime me. We can just lay down the technology next to us, and I'll just sit here until you can go to sleep. And once you go to sleep, I'll go to sleep. We can use technology to our advantage so much right now to try to connect with our friends, connect with our loved ones, connect with brothers, friends, all over the world, all right? So don't make those excuses. All right, go to Job chapter 2, 11, 13. All right, I'm going to give you 1 second to get there. All right, that's enough. Here we go. All right, here we go. Listen, this is what happened to Job, all right? So remember, I told you Job went through a lot of stuff, right? His animals died, his kids died. He went through some horrible pain. So it says, when Job and his 3 friends, Eliphaz, Temanites, Bildad, Shuhites, Zophar, Nimanites, and all the other names. All right, here you go. It says, heard about all the troubles that had come upon him. They set out from their homes and met together by agreement to go and sympathize with him and comfort him. When they saw him from a distance, all right, so they saw Job from a distance, they could hardly recognize him. They began to weep aloud, and they tore their robes, sprinkled dust on their heads, and they sat on the ground with him for 7 days and 7 nights. No one said a word to him because they saw how great his suffering was. Now those were good friends. Those were comforters of God. Those are the ones they saw Job. They saw how bad he was hurting. So you know what they did? Obviously, you heard what I said. They saw him. They couldn't recognize him because he was so devastated. So they went with him. They mourned with him. They threw himself on the ground with Job. And they just sat there for 7 days and 7 nights, and not to say anything. Just so Job can grieve while they're just comforting him at any moment in time. The best thing you can do for anybody who's going through a problem is just make yourself available. Just be available. Even if they are not ready to talk at that moment, when they're ready, they will talk. But when you have to make yourself available. All right? So, they sympathized with Job. They worked together. They showed up for Job, and they empathize. All right? Empathize. Empathize and sympathy. All right? Does anybody know the difference between empathy and sympathy? Huh? Yeah, you in the back. You're in the right ballpark. Yeah, correct. All right? So sympathy, right, is when you're like, you yourself are not emotionally connected. You're just like, hey, man, sorry that happened to you. I really do feel bad. Empathy is when you actually put your emotions into it. You're like, hey, you know what? I'm really, really sorry that happened to you. What can I do to help you go through this? You know, yes, when you start asking, like right here in Rockford Church, we have the Compassion Relief team. The Compassion Relief team, that is exactly what this is about. Because see, when we have family members that their loved ones are deployed, and unfortunately some of them don't come back, they have other things to worry about. The last thing they want to worry about is cutting the grass, maybe paying the bills or anything, right? Because their world just crushed. So the Compassion Relief team, this is exactly where it comes from. They will go out there and do all those little things that they don't think it's important at that moment. So we help them. So when they come back and they're done grieving, they can come back to a clean, a comfortable home. I mean, check this out. How many of you guys make your bed before you guys go to school? I'm gonna tell you guys right now why you should make your bed. All right, why you should make your bed. Who here has spent the night at a hotel? All right, everybody has. All right, at a hotel, motel, right? At a hotel. When you guys see a freshly made bed with white sheets, how do you guys feel? You guys jump on it, right? You're just like, ah. Yeah. What's up? What do you have? Good, you destroy it, but you see it, and the minute you want to do it is just jump in it, right? Just throw yourself like a big fluffy pillow, all right? Here's the reason why you should make your bed. I'm gonna tell you right now, all right? Whether you want to listen to your parents or not, but this is why you should make up your bed, right? Because check this out. Regardless of how horrible the day has been, at least when you come home to a made bed, so you can just roll into it and go to sleep and relax. I'd rather go to sleep in something that looks inviting and says, come here, hug me, than to come in and be like, all right, my clothes is here. I don't know what's clean and dirty. And then there's like a small little blanket, and then like, no, that's why? Why do you want to do that to yourself, right? Make your bed. So like that, when the day is done and over with, you can just lay down into something that is, so comfortable, and then it'll put you to sleep, all right? So that's the reason why you should make your bed. I don't know how I got into the bed part about making your bed. Forgot. TBI kicked in. You know what TBI is? Anybody? No? No, traumatic brain injury, all right? Because when I was in Afghanistan, I actually got blown up. So my head got hit pretty hard. So I don't remember certain things. So this is why I don't know how I went onto a tangent. So I need somebody to keep me back on track. You got me, bro? My man. All right, there we go. Give it up to Jermaine. He's got me on track. There you go. There you go. All right. All right, so obviously, right, I like to give you guys things to write so you guys can keep it in your house. So now what, right? How do we be with someone when they're grieving? All right, good. I'm glad you guys asked that question. All right, here we go. Number one, let them know you are there. All right, when someone is grieving, regardless of what it is, from a goldfish to the loss of a parent or a loved one or anything, right? Let them know that you're there. That's note number one. Let them know you're there. You don't even have to talk. Just let them know you're there through